Hey Bonehawks, this video is all about Mortal Kombat 1, and we're going to talk balance patch, because today the first balance patch dropped right after the Pro Tour event, which was good timing, but I think they kind of knew before the event what was kind of needed to be addressed and what didn't, so we're going to go through most of it today, what I deem the kind of the bigger stuff that you should know about, and we're going to see what changed, so yeah, let's get into it.
Accept your death.
The first one that kind of needed to get addressed was Cyrax for sure, and most definitely his kind of helicopter chopper thingy-majig. So the regular one seems to be if you want to just do it up in the air, that's fine, still takes half a cameo bar, but if you want to make it go forward, it takes your entire cameo bar, which means Cyrax can't even use that unless he has his entire bar ready. Now they did make the comeback on that a little bit faster, but again, you have to have your full cameo meter in order to be able to use it in the first place, which is going to eliminate a lot of shenanigans, or at least slow them down. I don't think this is enough to completely negate the Cyrax cameo, but it's definitely enough to slow it down, and I don't think it's too much, but it definitely is quite the change. They also added a lot of combo scaling to it as well, which means that the more that you use it in combos, the less damage you're going to do. I saw Tweety on Twitter saying, that was a weird sentence, that Baraka's 60% damage combo that he would use now only does like 46. That's pretty significant. So yeah, definitely Cyrax change. We'll see if, obviously he was the #1 cameo at the Pro Tour event. So whether again, I think NRS had all of this set before the event, and that as soon as the event was done, they're like, all right, let it go live. You don't really want to mess competitors right before an event, so which is smart. I agree with that. But yeah, we'll see if these changes are enough to deter everybody from using Cyrax. Side note: have you noticed a whole bunch of Rain players in ranked matches since pro competition? Because like every single game that happens, Sonic picks some obscure character, then everyone just jumps on that bandwagon, and they're everywhere. But I don't know. I haven't gone online yet since I got home, so we'll see. And secondly, of course, is the second most used cameo, which is the Kung Lao Lohat. Now this one still seems pretty strong to me. Like they did increase the amount that it comes back, but it still comes back fairly fast. So I mean, especially if you're like Johnny Cage and Pressure, you know, boom, boom, Lohat, boom, boom, boom. So I expect that we're going to see a lot of Cyrax replaced with just Kung Lao Lohat. But we'll see. Again, it is a small change, but it was one that maybe it's enough to make a difference. I'm not really too sure. It doesn't really look. It still comes back fairly quick, and it's still +2 on block, I believe. Yeah. So I mean, I think we just kind of shift from Cyrax to Lao is going to be the meta here. But let me know if you think that just that little bit of recovery was enough for Kung Lao to kind of be moved down the ranks a bit. And then a lot of cameos actually were given this same kind of nerf where, like, if you use the same move or similar moves 2 times in a combo, it'll actually cause a slight delay before it starts to come back. So Serena's Kia's blades are one of them. So as long as you just kind of use it once in a combo, it's like kind of just about when she disappears, it starts to build back. If you use it twice in a combo, there's a little bit more of a delay before it actually starts to build back again. It's not by much, by like a second or so, but I mean, a second's a long time in fighting games. So some other characters that were affected by this are Goro when he uses his Raise the Roof, Jax when he uses a Backbreaker, Kano with the delay knife toss, Scorpion with the Fire Breath, Sector with the Up Rocket and Homing Rocket, Sonya with either of hers, Striker with his grenade tosses. And all of these things I'm going to post in the description down below if you want to go and you want to read the patch notes for everything that happened, if you want to see something specifically with your character. There are some things I noticed that didn't seem to be in the patch notes, or maybe I'm just a little bit crazy, and I'll go over those in just a little bit. I just wanted to cover the cameos first, though. And lastly, my boy Shujinko. So, kind of got some buffs. One that he did get is specifically against Sub-Zero, because the slide used to do like 30 damage before, and now it does 110, which is actually fairly significant, because it was kind of like, why would I ever use the slide when his 2-bar move is the Ice Ball anyways, which I still kind of think, but at least now there's a bit of a reason to use it, so there's that. A little bit of a nerf that he got is, and I think this is more of a general fix. I really don't think that they meant to give this to Shujinko in the first place anyways. But I was at least using it as a big part of his game plan, was using him as a meat shield. So before you can just kind of throw him out and then the opponent does a move, he eats the move, he can still do that, that's fine. But now I can't call him back like almost immediately like I used to be able to. Is the same kind of hitbox cooldown as the other cameos. And I think that was kind of an across the board thing that they made the change, which is fair, you know. But it did make something really unique with Shujinko where you can throw him out and have him charge. You know, try and bait your opponent to try and hit him, and then try and hit your opponent. So I definitely will miss doing that. Whether that returns in the future or not, I don't know. But other than that, there's just kind of some just overall like bug fixes and stuff with him. He was definitely a gimmicky cameo, and I've seen some weird stuff with him. So we'll see over the course of time if they fixed everything or not. But that's basically it for the cameos. Let me just take a quick look just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Alright, so we're going to start off with Rain first, because he's kind of the talk of the town. One thing that I felt that was really interesting, and we actually kind of figured this out before this patch happened, was you could not uplock this move. Like, you could just try and uplock it, and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't register. It just registered as actual just block. So now you're actually able to upblock that move. I'm really confused on like a technical standpoint how that works, because it doesn't look particularly any different than another jump attack, so I'm not really sure why it wasn't acting as one, but that's interesting. Another thing to note is his jump and air attacks. He can actually use ambushes after them now, so it seems like Rain got some love here, which is going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Still doesn't mention in his moves list that he can cancel his overheads into the throws with the Kara cancel, so I'm not really sure again how you're supposed to figure that one out, but I mean, we've all seen him play at this point. It's weird it's still not in the moves list. Alright, so Raiden, so this was incredibly difficult for me to do. I still am not able to do it, but he was able to combo off his overhead using Cyrax. Apparently the damage scaling on that is not great anymore, and this was already really hard to hit in the first place, so not really sure if it's worth going for anymore. They definitely have, that was like the first thing that they have on this list, is that increased combo damage scaling. So if you were someone that was able to do this, I was never able to do this. And it's not supposed to be easy, I would imagine, because yeah, it's kind of an unreactable overhead into full combo. I don't know about that. A lot of damage scaling reduction, especially on something like this. So like his kind of easier combos that like kind of did like 400 damage without even trying, that don't hit as hard anymore. Like I remember that hitting somewhere in the 35 and I dropped it. Yeah, 328. And I'm fairly certain that particular combo used to do in the 400s easy. So unfortunately, in my opinion, that's not really where Raiden needed to be nerfed. I mean, yeah, like that damage was pretty crazy, but like the problem was this, was it not? Like all this chip damage, and yes, I guess they nerfed Cyrax so you don't get as much of the chip afterwards, but I mean, you can still do crazy stuff with other cameos, which would kind of give them the same idea. Still like, yeah, almost 30% of your health bar right there. And I mean, yes, it's full cameo meter, all that kind of thing. But yeah, that's the idea, right? And you're building meter, like you've almost built your full meter, and you haven't even hit the opponent. So sometimes the problem isn't always the cameo, it's the character, and when you kind of need to look at those types of things. Because this doesn't look like it was unchanged at all. Like that, all the properties are the same, the meter build was the same, all that kind of stuff. They actually changed the amount of meter that Shang Tsung builds off his ground skulls, but not off of this. So I think that was a change that was missed. Maybe we'll see it in the future. Maybe there's a reason they want to let it rock. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. Alright, Nitara, this was actually kind of a big one, and I will be straight up, I don't know much about what Nitara does. But Nitara has one of the lowest, she has the lowest health pool in the game. I don't know why, because she doesn't seem like she's that powerful, but maybe after this she will be. So her blood sacrifice moves, what gives her different kind of move abilities in the air, and different kind of like healing abilities. It used to cost 50 health, which is like, you already have the lowest health, why would you do that as well. But now they changed it to 5 health, which is huge. That's a huge difference. And I've already seen from a few Nitara players myself, like Mason saying that, you know, like, and Deoxys saying, like, you know, that like this is kind of game changing for her. We'll kind of see what happens if it really makes that big of a difference, because yeah, now that she has the lower health pool, but she's actually able to get some health back, perhaps this is that balance that she needed to kind of be a little bit more competitive. But we did see Deoxys get 9th at the Pro Tour, and that was just without all these changes, so sky's the limit. See what I did there? Sky's because she flies around. Side note, they also changed this bug that you would get where you just randomly lose a bar or meter. Looks like it when breakers or stuff happened in the air. So I remember Mason bitching about that a lot, saying, well, why would I just randomly lose meter? Just randomly lose it. But they fixed that, so yay. They also fixed the infinite that Sindel had, as well as the glitch that General Shao had with Shujinko, which wasn't just Shujinko, by the way. It was just, and then they even say it in the patch notes, that it's not him. Every once in a while he can just do it and makes his own axe disappear, which made me salty because in the Pro Tour rules, it was like, okay, well, if you pick Sindel, you have to have a TO present to make sure you don't do that pesky infinite. It's like, okay, but what if I use Shujinko? And it's like, oh no, you can't use Shujinko. It's like, well, why does Sindel get like this? Just make sure you don't do it. And then like Shujinko is like, you're probably gonna do it, so we're not gonna bother. Made me a little salty, but either way, both of those are fixed, so we don't have to worry about them going forward. And other than that, Sindel had a couple little quality of life changes, nothing too crazy that I saw. And General Shao seemed like he was more just fixed, like things that just were supposed to work with him and didn't are now working. So it'll be interesting to see, because we already saw like a good representation of him at the event. It'll be interesting to see going forward how many people pick him up, what he does, how he goes up or down on the tier list. So Kung Lao went relatively unchanged. Changed the block stun a little bit on his overhead, which is just a little bit, because he used to have this really weird block stun if you flawless blocked it. It's still really hard to flawless block because 18 frames is like pretty much unreactable overhead, but if you can do it, I mean, a bit more of a window there for you to punish. But the big thing with Kung Lao that they changed is that there's more combo scaling on that move there, which is Shaolin Shimmy, which is his safe armored launcher. So yeah, there should be a little bit more on there, but I didn't see too many people using Kung Lao anyways, so we'll see. Though he is very strong, especially with Goro, you know, make it his armor plus on block if you want, and it'll still combo after that. So I think we're going to see a lot more Kung Laos now after this patch hit, and a lot more Goro, and especially Striker. Striker's really slept on. I think once people kind of realize how his grenade stuff works, we're going to be seeing a lot of Striker. Kenshi, the big thing that I saw, not too much balances, more glitches and stuff with that. As far as the actual character goes, is they removed the glitch with Shujinko, where you could have like multiple Sentos out at the same time. So you can't do that anymore. I don't know if you ever saw that video. I'll post it somewhere here or down. I think I'll put a little card up there if you want to watch it. It's really goofy, but you can't do that anymore. We all knew that was getting patched. It's too bad someone didn't use that at the Pro Comp, because that would be really hilarious. But thing of the past, nobody used it. It's gone by the wayside. Other than that, Kenshi, just some bug fixes and visual adjustments. And then lastly, there's some quality of life stuff. It's still not all the stuff I was hoping for, but we did get some things like you can show the ping on your online matches. That's super duper helpful because you can kind of see what's going on. They added the Forever King feature, which is really, really nice to stream events. Basically, one person stays king the whole time. So if you're streaming, you don't have to worry about switching the names back and forth all the time. It's more of a technical thing. And then, yeah, super duper bug fixes, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, there's some characters that the changes, I just don't know them well enough to really go into them in depth. So that's why I said I'll put the link of everything that was changed down in the description if you want to read. And maybe you can tell me something I didn't mention here about your character, what you think. What's your guess on the meta? I think that Kung Lao Hat and Striker are going to be the two that we're going to see kind of rise above the rest. And Cyrax will still be around for certain people that really want to use him. But it's no longer kind of a pick up and go cameo. You definitely have to do some work with it. So what did you think about the balance patch? Yay, nay? Do you like? In my opinion, I always like when they kind of buff things up rather than nerf things down. Especially when it comes to a thing like an assist fighter where it's supposed to be kind of crazy and wacky anyways. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. There's a little bit of both going on here. So it looks like they have this listed as the October update. So whether we're going to have one of these every month, who knows? Maybe with every new character that comes out. We've got Omni-Man coming in November. I think Quan is coming either December or January, something like that. And every month after that. So get some balances. I think that's how they did it with Injustice 2. And MK11, they were a little bit more reserved, but we'll see. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out. And subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.